What's up you guys, and welcome to today's tutorial. Today I'm going to teach you guys how to make my Scott Beanie. My Scott Beanie is literally my all-time favorite pattern because it has absolutely no extra fabric at the top. And here is a better look for you guys. As you can see, it is fully closed up and there is absolutely no extra fabric on the top of my head. When I first started out crocheting, I literally refused to make beanies because I absolutely hated the extra fabric at the top, so I am super excited to share this pattern with you guys today. And if anybody is interested in the written pattern, I've also linked that in the description for you, but let's get into the video. So starting off, we're going to go over the supplies we need. So the first thing is going to be our yarn. I personally like to use a weight 3 or a weight 4 cotton. That is what I used for this one right here. But you can use any yarn ranging from a weight 3 to a weight 5 without having to adjust the pattern at all. That is at least what I know for sure. I have never personally tried, or I haven't heard anybody else personally trying a weight 6 or a weight 2 or anything like that. But if you do decide to try it, please let me know how that goes. Now moving on for our hook sizes, I do recommend that you follow whatever it says on the back of the yarn. So as you can see for this yarn, it says I should use a 5.5mm hook, so that is what I would use for this yarn. And as you can see for this weight 4 cotton, it does recommend I use a 5.5mm hook as well. And this is one yarn where I will say please do not follow that recommended sizing for this beanie specifically. For weight 4 cotton yarn like this one, I always go in with either a 3.5, a 3.75, or a 4mm hook. I just really feel like a 5.5mm hook for this yarn and this beanie is just going to look really loose, and that's not what we want. And for reference, this is the exact same cotton yarn, and I used a 3.5mm hook on this one. And for the rest of the supplies, we are going to be needing a darning needle. I really like to go in with the larger ones just to make it easier on myself. And we are going to be using this for sewing up our beanie. Next, we will be needing some scissors so that we could cut our yarn at the end of the project. And then finally, this beanie does require a little bit, a very, very little bit of counting. So if you do need it, I do recommend a stitch marker. But as for our supplies, that is all we're going to be needing, and now let's get into crocheting the beanie. And for today's project, I am going to be using the big Twist Twinkle yarn in this red color. And since it calls for a 5mm crochet hook, that is what I'm going to use. We are going to start off by creating a slip knot like this. And now we're going to insert our hook. And then with our 5mm hook, we're just going to go ahead and loosely create chains until the chain can reach from the crown of our head to our top lip. Alright, and here's what my chain is looking like. It is 44 chains and about 12 inches in length. Now to start on the first row of the beanie, what we're going to do is we're going to flip the chain upside down so all you see are these little bumps here. These bumps are called the back bars, and that is what we're going to be working into. So here is a closer look at these little bumps here. What we're going to do is we are going to skip this first bump right here and work into our second one. So for this row, we are going to be working half double crochets into the back bars until we get to our final 8 stitches. So to do this, we are going to yarn over, work into this second back bar, not this first one here. Now we have 3 on our hook, yarn over again, pull through just the back bar, like this. Now we have 3 on our hook, and we're going to yarn over and pull through all 3. We're going to do the same thing for our next back bar here. We're going to yarn over, go into the back bar, 3 on our hook, yarn over, pull through only the back bar, 3 on our hook again, yarn over, and pull through. And we're going to continue to do this until we get to our final 8 stitches. Alright, I've completed my half double crochets, and now we have 8 stitches or 8 chains left. Now we're going to move on, and I'm going to show you guys what we're doing next. So still working into our back bumps. Now instead of half double crochets, we are going to be working 4 single crochets. So into our back bar, yarn over, pull through just the back bar. Now we have 2 on our hook. We're going to yarn over one more time and pull through both. And we're going to do that for 3 more back bars. So 1, 2, and 3. At this point, if you do need it, I do suggest putting a stitch marker in that first single crochet that you did. Now we only have 4 chains left, and what we're going to do now is slip stitches into these last 4. So we are going to go into our back bar again, like this, yarn over, pull through, and then I really try to loosely pull through at this point just to make sure that we don't make our slip stitches too tight. And then we're going to go again, next back bar, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through, making sure that we're still making it decently loose. 2 more times. 1 and 2. And after that final chain, we are just going to yarn over and chain to end our row. And this is what our first row is going to look like no matter what weight yarn you're using, how many chains you did. We're going to do half double crochets until our final 8, 4 singles, and then 4 slip stitches. And for this next row, we are going to turn our work this way, and we're going to do the same thing back. So we're going to do 4 slip stitches to start, but it is all going to be back loop only. So if you look at the top of your stitches, you'll see these little V's here. We're just going to work into the back part of the V, just this part. We're not going to work into the full stitch. So to start off, we are going to skip this first V here, and we're going to do 4 slip stitches. So into this back loop here, yarn over, pull through, and pull through. Remember to do it loosely. Again, here is the V here, just into the back loop. Yarn over, pull through, loosely pull through, and again, 2 more times. And now we have our 4 back loop only slip stitches, and now we're going to do 4 back loop only half doubles. So again, just into the back part of the V here, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through all. Again, into the back, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through all of them, all the way down. And this is what you should be looking like. You can go ahead and remove your stitch marker to make it a little easier for yourself. And for the rest of the way, we're going to do a back loop only half double crochets. So yarn over into the back loop, yarn over, pull through the back loop, yarn over again, pull through all of them. And I'm just going to continue this until I get to the very end of the row. Alright, and this is what we're looking like after row 2. Now we're going to start on our 4 row repeat that we're going to be using until we finish the entire beanie. So to start row 1, we are going to chain 1 and flip our work. And for this first row repeat, we are going to be working back loop only half doubles until we reach our stitch marker. And if you don't have a stitch marker, you're going to be doing back loop only half double crochets until you reach your final 8 stitches. Alright, I just did back loop only half double crochets until I reached my stitch marker. Now we're going to remove the stitch marker and work 4 back loop only single crochets. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, rather than going into our final 4 stitches with our back loop only slip stitch, we are going to chain 1 and turn our work. And here is what our project is looking like after our first row repeat. And to start our second row repeat, we're going to turn our work this way, and we're going to do 4 back loop only single crochets. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now we can replace our stitch marker. Now again, for the rest of the row, we are going to do back loop only half double crochets. Alright, and this is what we're looking like after row 2 of our repeats. As you can see, the only difference is that we did not work into the slip stitches at all, and we just have this blank space here. And then again, after every round, we are just going to chain 1 and turn our work. For our row 3 repeat, we are going to be working back loop only half double crochets until we reach our stitch marker, or until we reach those 4 single crochets. And now I've made it to my stitch marker, or my final 4 single crochets, so we're going to take out the stitch marker, and I'm going to work 4 back loop only single crochets like normal. 2, 3, and 4. And now this is what we're looking like at the end of our single crochets, and we're actually going to reach down and work slip stitches into these 4 slip stitches. So to do that, I'm going to reach down into the back loop only. We are still going to be working back loop only. We're not going to be working into the whole stitch. So reaching down into the back loop, yarning over, pulling through, and then I really like to try to stay loose, especially for this first one, just because we're reaching down so far, like that. And then we are going to do 3 more back loop only slip stitches, trying to stay loose so that it is easy for our hook to get into them later. 3, and then 1 more here at the end. Like that. And then we're always going to end off our row with the chain 1. And this is what we're looking like after our row 3 repeat. As you can see, it is really starting to cinch here, while the rest of the beanie is staying the same size. Alright, and now for row 4, we are again going to turn our work like this, and we are going to be working our last repeat row. For this row, we are again going to be working 4 back loop only slip stitches. There's 1, 2, 3, and 4. Remember to try to stay loose with them so it's easy to work into them later. And then now we're going to work our 4 back loop only singles. 1, 2, take our stitch marker out, 3, and 4. I'm going to put our stitch marker back in to mark our spot. And for the rest of the row, we are going to be working back loop only half doubles. And this is going to be the end of our 4 row repeats. Alright, and this is what we're looking like after our first 6 rows, obviously again with our chain 1 at the end of every row. So now until the beanie can fully fit around our head, we're just going to keep repeating those 4 repeat rows over and over again. So that is what I'm going to be doing now, and I will come back to show you guys what it looks like. Alright, and here is what my beanie is looking like after those repeat rows. I do like to end off with the rows 1 and 2 of the repeat, just so that when I fold it in half, the rows ending with the single crochets are right next to the rows with the slip stitches. And now to finish off our beanie, I like to just go ahead and chain 1, and then I'm going to leave a tail that is 3 times the length of our beanie here. So 1, 2, and 3, and I'm going to cut this. And then now I'm just going to pull through my tail here and tighten it. Alright, and now what we're going to do is we are going to fold our beanie in half like this, and then we want the tail side to be in the front on the right hand side. And now I'm just going to add in my darning needle, and we are going to sew the side shut. So to sew up our beanie, this is going to be really easy. We're going to go in to each stitch to close it up. So we're going to go into our first stitch on this side of the beanie, and then the first stitch on the other side of the beanie. And we're just going to pull through like that. And we're just going to do the same thing over and over. So into the second stitch here, and then the second stitch here, and pull through. And we're just going to try to tighten it up without pulling too tight. Third stitch, and pull. And we're going to continue that all the way until we get to the end of these single crochets. Alright, and now I've closed up the beanie all the way through the single crochets. Now to finish the rest, we're going to go down to this row down here to grab into our slip stitches. If you aren't sure where the start of your slip stitches are, you can always count from the end here. So 1, 2, 3, and then I'm in the 4th one. And then you can go to the other side and finish slip stitching. And for this first one, you want to pull a little bit tighter since there is that little drop in the rows. And we're just going to continue until we finish this row. And now I just went through the last stitch on both of the sides, and I just like to go in one more time to make sure it's secure. And this is what our seam is looking like. I really like it because I feel like it kind of blends in with the rest of the ribbing. Now the only problem that we have is that we have this hole here at the top of the hat, and I'm going to show you guys how to close that up. So to close up the hole, I am just going to continue with my yarn that I used to sew up the sides. And what we're going to do is I'm going to insert my hook to the edge right here on each of these little divots. So here's a better look. I would insert right here, 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 all the way until we get all the way around. So let's do that together. So I'm going to insert to the very edge of this one and just pull through. And then again in this next one. And then all the way until I get back to where I came from. And now that I made it all the way back, I'm going to put the beanie as flat as I can so that we can fully see that circle. And this will make it easier for us to tighten it up. We are just going to very carefully pull our tail to close this up. And we want to be careful because we don't want to break the yarn. And here is what my hole is looking like afterwards. I'm going to pull just a little bit tighter, try to get that last bit of the circle closed. And this is what we are looking like. And now just to secure the yarn and make sure it doesn't come loose, I'm just going to randomly weave in my tail until I feel like it's secure. And I'm also going to do this with the other tail from the beginning of our project. But after this, our beanie is going to be completely done, and I will show you what it looks like on. Alright you guys, and here is what the finished beanie looks like. I do want to show you the top of the hat is completely closed, and let me put it on. So here is what the top of the hat looks like. I absolutely love it. But now that our hat is completely done, please let me know in the comments if you guys have any questions or need any clarification for anything. I absolutely love this beanie, and I would love if you guys love this beanie as well. And if you guys stayed this long into the video, thank you so much for watching, and please let me know if there's any other tutorials you'd like to see from me. Bye!